Hello, I'm Robert Vindersing. I'm a Naturally Noble. Today we're going to talk about mineral supplements. Mineral supplements only have a value to you with the percentage that you can absorb. So for that reason, I decided to do this video because absorbability is absolutely key. When we buy a mineral supplement and it says, a certain percentage of the daily recommended amount, whether it's 100% or 150% of the daily recommended amount, if you're only absorbing a percentage of that, then you absolutely have no idea what percentage of the daily recommended amount you actually achieved. And the supplement companies aren't putting any data on there to say percentage of absorbability of specific compounds. I've went to many natural product expos in Baltimore, in Anaheim. I've been to Supply Side in Las Vegas, where the supplement raw material are for sale for supplement companies to purchase. And in all of these different trade shows, pretty good indication that there's a problem with absorbability on chemical compounds and supplements is all the free samples that are out there. With as many people that were taking free samples of the gummies, of vitamins, of this energy drink and that energy drink, we should have seen a whole line of ambulances out the back door from people overdosing on minerals and supplements, because there is a higher level of absorbability that you do not want to reach. So absorbability, the number one key to ensuring that your absorbability is high is what color pee you have. If you're taking a vitamin mineral supplement and you have a very colorful pee, chances are most of that supplement has went through you. If you're taking a mineral supplement in a food form, or a food-based mineral supplement, like a mushroom with vitamin D, you shouldn't see any color change in your urine. Same with kelp for iodine. I truly believe in food-based supplementation. Even zinc is grown on mold sometimes, and they're calling it food-based. I just have issues with that. But selenium, make sure it's yeast-free. I've talked to formulators at these trade shows, and I said, well, how do you know your selenium isn't active? Because when we look at bread yeast and other things, that yeast stays active until you hit a temperature to kill it. If yeast is active and it gathers selenium, is it taking more selenium out of your system than actually putting in? So I make sure that when I take a selenium supplement, it is in a yeast-free form. I also look at, Brazil nuts as a natural source of selenium, but it all depends where the Brazil nut is grown. I have the ability to, with an XRF, to test any foods that I'm buying for mineral content, but we use it for testing our foods to ensure that the plants are actually uptaking what we're targeting for mineral uptake. So if you're taking a supplement every day and you have wonderful colorful pee, let me describe to you how to get the most out of that supplement, because if you were looking at what you're paying, per ounce of selenium, if you take that milligrams and you figure out how many, or micrograms, and you figure out how many micrograms it takes to make an ounce, you're probably paying $35,000 per ounce of selenium by the time you were to bring that all together. But that's just a side note. But anyway, if you were to look at how do I get the most of this mineral supplement when I take it, and I see that I have colorful pee, make sure you take it with plenty of water. And then I recommend going out and either dumping that pee in your garden or going out in your garden and peeing in your garden. Next year, when that plant takes up that minerals, because the microbes in the soil have broke it down to a level that the plant can take it up and a level for you to absorb, you're going to get your full value out of that supplement, but probably not until then. I don't mean to make light out of this. I just see that we all want better health. The reality is we need to put minerals back into our food. Putting NPK on the soil is showing a major imbalance in our diet, leading to kidney failure. If you talk to any doctor that works with dialysis patients, their number one problem is phosphorus and potassium levels in our food. So we need a balance of everything put back into our food. The Rodale Institute, Dr. Rodale, I'm not even sure if he's a doctor, but he was a very smart man. Mr. Rodale wrote a book, a Complete Book of Composting, and in there he cited Dr. Beeson's work. And Mr. Beeson worked for the U.S. government, wrote many reports for the U.S. government, describing how the mineral deficiencies were going to affect our health. Tragically, we didn't have the ability back in 1912 to 1920 to follow through on his recommendations. But he was right about one thing, that within 50 years we'd see major health problems. We're well into 100 years since his work. We're seeing viruses that can turn into pandemics. In the history of man, I'm sure somebody has been bitten by a wolf bat. But the virus never took hold in a man because a man was never that weak for a virus to allow a man to be a host. The only way that we can address a virus is to not allow that virus to replicate in us. You know, viruses are no different than a seed, no different than life. Man didn't create it. You know, that's why these crazy idiots will go to different animals and look for wonderful ways of destroying human life. And you know, I think the Bible in Isaiah 65 says, you know, men will have corrupt meat in their pots. You know, that to me is a virus from a bat. Doesn't mean that they're eating it as food, but they're playing with shit that we don't need to be playing with. But the reality is if we were stronger, we'd be asymptomatic, and we get stronger by quality food. I didn't mean for this humorous little video to get serious, but sometimes the life is so crazy that even humor is serious. And I truly hope that we start increasing the mineral content in our food, in our fields. You know, you can't take and make a pot of coffee one morning and then the next day just add water to it, and then the next day just add water to it. Eventually that coffee, even though you put it in a cup, just absolutely doesn't have any value. When we're harvesting out of a field, it's like that. Every year we're just taking more and more out of it, and there's nothing in the food. You know, hydroponics, you know, what value is that if there's no minerals? most of the time when you're buying organic foods, it could be hydroponically grown, because now they allow the certified organics to carry that label on hydroponics, which has no soil in it whatsoever. And I think that's why we see this virus taking hold in, metropolitan areas like New York, where there isn't enough agriculture. So these food factories that are just hydroponic producers of food are just taking over. But so is a virus in weakened communities. We need to go back to the garden. We need to deliver minerals in a meaningful way to our bodies, and that's through food. Not buying supplements that you're ending up just making other people rich, and that has no value to you. Have a good day.